Hey guys, Positive here, and today we're going to be asking the question, is the WZ-131G-FT secretly overpowered? And actually, I'm just going to answer that right now. It is definitely overpowered. We're going to be taking a closer look at this vehicle, go a little bit into why it's broken, and a little bit on how to play it if you haven't really been able to make the most out of this broken tank before WG inevitably nerfs it in 2 patches. Okay, let's talk about why the WZ-131G-FT is pretty much just broken. So, any argument for the WZ just starts with the gun. So right away, what you'll notice is that the WZ-131G-FT is equipped with the tank destroyer version of the Type 59's gun. But this isn't just any version of the Type 59's gun, it's a better version of the Type 59's gun, which is frankly broken considering it's a tier 6 compared with a tier 8's gun. So right away you'll notice that the tank has pretty much the same penetration, same alpha damage as the Type 59, but for some reason the WZ-131G-FT has 400 extra DPM over the Type 59, and also it's got faster aim time and better dispersion. Yes, the gun handling values are worse, but you can get over this if you mount burst stab and GLD, and you can get the gun handling numbers down to really acceptable values. And once you actually play this tank, the bloom isn't really that big of an issue, and just the fact that it has better dispersion, better rate of fire, better aim time than the Type 59, while keeping the same tier 8 levels of penetration, so 180 on the standard rounds, 240 on the premium rounds, which is completely overkill. The gun is absurd. It'll have no trouble just shredding through pretty much any tier 6 in front of it. Also, the tank is also pretty mobile, so it's got pretty respectable power to weight ratios. You can see they're actually a little better than the Type 59. The only thing really holding it back mobility wise is this limited forward speed of 45. It's somewhat weak traverse, but overall the WZ-131 can really move to where it needs to be. I mean, let's not talk about the armor though. The armor is garbage. However, the front is HE resistant, so there's that. Admittedly, that is a weakness, but it's not really a weakness until you consider the hidden stats on the WZ. So one of the big things that the WZ-131G-FT has is its camo rating. So this is all of the camo values in Blitz. For those of you who want to see the table for yourself and take a look, it's pretty interesting. I'll link it in the description below. But I have this list sorted by the stationary camo value of every tank in the game. So this is when you're just sitting still, not moving, no camo net, no nothing, not firing. And you see that the WZ-131G-FT is what is this? This is the 5th best tank on the list because this is E25 and Angry Connor plus camo net, so those don't actually count. So, no, this is actually this is the 4th highest tank. Just kidding. So you have the 4th best camo in the game. It's better than the Borsig. This is absurd. So once you get it tricked out with all the bells and whistles, so camo paint, 7th level camo crew skill, and camo net, once you've got your camo net active, you're looking at 73.7% camo rating. And for those of you who don't really understand how absolutely ridiculous that is, that means that Easy 8 is not going, a fully tricked out Easy 8, so an Easy 8 running double rations, optics, max turret, he's not going to spot you until 110 meters. How absurd is that? He has to close to within 110 meters to spot you. And then if you're in a bush, you have to be proxy spotted or you have to fire. It's just absolutely ridiculous how good the camo rating is. Really, this is what the WZ-131G-FT is all about. It's all about this absurd camo rating and this absurd gun. And you can it's got the speed to just relocate wherever it needs to be, and it can also relocate directly inside of the enemy because the camo rating is absurd. So let's just take a look at it and how this works out in gameplay. And so let's get started with the gameplay. So at the time of the making of this video, I actually owned 8 of the 10 top damage spots in NA for this tank, so that's pretty cool. But either way, that means that I can show you guys basically some top class gameplay for this tank that is actually mine, which is nice. But something I neglected to mention in the garage for this tank is this gun does 280 damage a shot. It is the same as the Type 59, but I forgot to emphasize how good 280 damage per shot is at tier 6. Basically 280 damage per shot means that if you land 3-4 shells, you're already having a pretty decent game for a tier 6 tank. So right away you can see I've set myself up in this really obvious sniper bush at Yamato Harbor. And being that this is tier 6, a lot of players are going to be dumb enough to poke into me. So, like, we've already done like 3 shots of damage. You can see we're already 850 damage for this game. Like, even if I were to die now, that's not a terrible result. And I'm, like, with this camo rating, even though they're, like, poking up pretty close to me, you'll see that on my rangefinder, they're, like, once they peak to where that our current VK is, like, they're within, like, almost 200 meters, and I can just sit here unspotted and just fire away. And so, something I also should mention is, even though I'm firing, and this bush does lose most of its camo value when I fire, it doesn't lose all of it, which is why I can continue to stay unspotted, even though that VK is pretty close. I do get spotted here, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'm just gonna get rid of that pesky spotter. And look at that, we're not even 2 minutes into this game, and I'm already sitting on like 2,000 damage, over 2,000 at this point. It's just absolutely ridiculous how fast this gun racks up damage, because you pen basically every shot you fire. Because, like, you can see this gun has pretty much no issues with accuracy whatsoever, as I miss a shell, so that's a little awkward. But you can see, like, I can just continue to sit in the back and farm damage. So this is actually how, like, this game ends up going. But it just showcased, like, what you can do with this gun given some, like, extended exposure time. And only a little 2 minutes in the game, we're at 3,000 damage for tier 6. It's absolutely ridiculous. Because, like, I pretty much, other than, like, these last 2 shots that I'm missing at, like, what is that, like 300 meters or something? Like, I've penned every shell because of the ridiculous penetration on this gun. It's also super accurate, and it's got that great damage per shot. And, like, it also has great DPM, as I mentioned. It's just more DPM than the Type 59, and the Type 59 is a tier 8. So, like, 4.5 minutes in, we're at, like, 3,400 damage, and, like, really, this tank just makes it look so easy. Like, as I say in the chat, this tank is OP, because it really is. Like, it's just effortless, because, like, most other tier 6 tanks, like, all the damage you do with, like, 160 damage per shot on, like, the mediums, like the Cromwell, for example, like, you have to fight for each of those hits. But with this tank, like, you just look for full HP targets, because you can just farm damage on them. Like, it's honestly dumb how fast this gun works. So, like, 3,895 damage, and this game was barely over 2 minutes, like, 3-minute game. Here we go on our next battle on Canal. Also, pretty much a sniper's paradise. I mean, given that this is the perfect sniper tank at tier 6, with the penetration, with the accuracy, with the damage per shot, like, with the camo rating, what else could you ask for other than some nice, easy tier 6 targets who are willing to peek into areas that normally at higher tiers people aren't dumb enough to peek. So we're just gonna climb this mountain here, because this is a great spot, and I have enough camo rating so that even if they get close, I don't really care, because I'll just have my camo net set up. And I guess my teammate is also going to climb up here with me. This VK-28, I'm going to punish him for that peak, 318 damage. And then this Sentinel, don't worry about you, buddy. I made sure not to forget about you. We've got our second WZ-131G-FT up here. He's stock though, but not that it matters. This tank is amazing when stock, as I'll show you later in this video. And we've already put in, like, I think that's 3 shells already, so we're already sitting pretty on, like, probably close to 800 damage, make that 1100 at this point. It's been 1 minute. Like, this is what a lot of people accomplish in the duration of a full game. And I've done that basically within the first minute. That's just how stupid this tank is. And we hit another shell. Like, it doesn't show because it's blind, but that one connected. As you can see, that guy's health has dropped. And we put ourselves on 2,000 damage within 1 minute 30 seconds. Because that's exactly what this tank does. It just makes everything look easy. And another shell, that's 2,300 damage. Still at around the 1 minute 30 mark. Because this tank has the reload of... This tank reloads faster than the T-3485, but it has 280 damage shot. You're not going to bounce shells. You rarely miss unless you're taking them at 500 meters like I am over there. So we're already sitting pretty on like 2,500 damage, and it's been 2 minutes. And that just puts our team up 4-2. So, like, I mean, it's just... I don't even really feel like moving at this point. Like, I'm too lazy to be bothered with that, and I also saw that these guys were coming here, so this 30.01 piece sitting in the open, looking like a juicy target. Fortunately, RNG dicks me over a little bit, but it's okay. I don't really care. Because I've already done more than enough. Like, we're talking like 2,800 damage within like a little more than 2 minutes of the game. Like, these are ridiculous damage numbers for tier 6 if you keep that in perspective. That's like 3 times the hit points of a tier 6 tank. That's like doing 6,000 damage at tier 10. And you do it so quickly. So that EZ8 was unable to spot us, and okay, just kidding, he does spot us, but earlier he didn't spot us. He was like, look how close he died to me. It's ridiculous. And, like, I mean, this tank doesn't take skill to play. You just sit in the nearest bush or a sniper position and you just farm people. Like, what can I say? So, like this game just looks so easy when you play this tank. That's 3.8k damage. That's so much for a tier 6. But it just looks effortless when you play this thing. And also, this tank is just so good that even when it's stock, you can still put up amazing numbers. So, right now, I think I've got the stock tracks in this replay and also the stock gun. Actually, I might have full tracks and full gun. Full tracks and full engine. But I definitely have the stock gun in this replay. You can see that it's got the 85mm. And even the stock 85mm gun on this tank is excellent. So compared to the 100, it has less pen. Like, it doesn't have that godlike tier 8 pen, and it also doesn't have that really nice 280 damage per shot. But you get even better DPM than you had with the 100. I think you get like 2,800 DPM with this thing tricked out. And then on the Top Gun, you only get like 2,400. Only 2,400 DPM. It's so weird how I have to say that, but like, it's still quite accurate. So you can see I managed to get a pretty nice Cupola snipe into that KV3. And basically, like, if I were to sum up how you should play this tank at its broken state to get the most out of it, it's basically find a good passive position at the start and then just do some sniping shells. Do your like 1,000 damage for free with that ridiculous camel rating, and then just relocate, do some more shots, put yourself on 2k damage, possibly trade away some of your HP, put you on 3k damage. Like, the damage really just stacks up with this gun. At least with the 100. Even with the 85, you can see I've got this T25 2 permatracked, and he's dead. They're like, what's he gonna do about that without repair kits? So once again, we're like 2 minutes in the game. We're like 1,400 damage. This SU-100 is clueless, so I'm just going to farm him with this tank. And I do get spotted, but I don't remember who spotted me. It might have been that SU-100, but you can see like I'm firing, and he doesn't spot me until he's within like 210 meters. Like, this is unheard of. Normally, like, you get spotted because everyone these days runs optics, right? So normally you'll get spotted at distances of like 250, 260, 270 even. So I keep getting spotted because my camo net's not up, which is kind of unfortunate. And it's also kind of undermining my point, but regardless. So like, once my camo net goes up, I'm no longer spotted, although I keep moving. Because admittedly, I don't think the gun traverse on this tank is all that great. And also, another drawback I neglected to mention is this tank actually cannot turn in place. Like, so you know how like most tanks, like, when you traverse in place, one track will go forward and the other will go back, and you'll like you won't move forward or back at all when you traverse. Well, actually, with this tank, you can only move one. It only moves one track at a time when you traverse, so it won't traverse in place, which can be somewhat annoying. And just look at this gun go. Like, I keep saying this throughout this video, and you're probably sick of me hearing it, but again, like, look at that. We're already at 3,600 damage. It's basically just effortless. And we still have all of our hit points. That's the absurd thing, because like, even though this tank doesn't have great armor, it's so small and hard to hit. You'll find that people miss this tank a lot. Like, they'll just outright miss you because it's such a small target. And so now we're just looking to close out this game. So this T-29, he might be on full hit points, but it doesn't matter for this overpowered little tank destroyer, as I shut him down. He doesn't even get the chance to train his gun on me because this tank is a little too short and a little too small for him to deal with in that close, tight turning situation. And I'm going after this KV-1S. I'm a little disappointed though, because this KV-3 might pick him up for me. But I actually missed my last shot, and luckily for my damage total, the KV-1S shuts down our KV-3. But it's not a problem, as I shut down this KV-1S for, I think this is the second highest damage game in this tank at the moment. And there you go, 3,890 damage in a stock tank at tier 6. Like, I picked up all these giant games within 100 battles. It's absurd. It's not like I was like hardcore grinding out battles in this tank. It's just that this tank is so good, so it's really not a problem for me to pick up these big damage games. And I'm not really doing anything really special either. I'm just shooting tanks from bushes. It's not really anything that takes a super genius to do. And so basically, I highly recommend that you pick up this tank ideally sometime within the next month, because WG is about to hit this thing with a Nerf bat bigger than the sun itself. Because, like I said earlier, there's just no way this tank can continue to exist in this form. It's going to have to get some sort of gun nerf. Because it's just, with 183 millimeters of standard penetration, 2,400 damage per minute, great accuracy, and then 280 damage per shot. This is a tier 8, like with the hit points of a tier 6 at tier 6. Better camo than the Borsig, like, this tank is everything going for it, really. So, you really should pick it up, because WG is about to nerf it. And something I just love about this tank is it just doesn't seem like an OP tank. Like most people, when they talk about overpowered tanks, they just seem overpowered. Like, this is a rather small, unassuming tank. Like, when you hear Bushka talk overpowered, he'll talk about things that are like kind of like well-rounded or something, like the T-54 Mod 1, which I don't agree with, but that's a story for a different day. But like, this tank, it just shows you like how overpowered a tank can be when it's just great at what it does. This tank is just amazing at sniping. That's what it does. And at tier 6, when people are dumb enough to just wander into the gun lines in these really common tank destroyer positions, like, this tank is a monster. There's no other way to put it. So I still have plenty of other giant games in this tank that I didn't bother showing in this video, because I could be showing you games for days in this tank. But I'm going to hold on to them, and once WG nerfs them, I'll probably put out some sort of before it was nerfed video, so that, like, sometime in the distant future, so that people can look back and, like, just gaze upon how broken this tank was. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and bye.